How are we all doing? Should we just have a breather? Just stop for a second and appreciate that we are actually here in the flesh, in this place, God's people, and some that are discovering God here tonight, and we're not sitting in our lounge rooms listening to the word of God. How cool is that? Can we just appreciate that for a second? I think that's good. I was thinking about this service, and mind you, I don't even need to preach. You just flip and killed it. You just hit on the head. And I have to mention, because I had to chuck in my 2 cents too, 24 years is not just something we should just announce. That is a massive milestone. And I just want to speak on behalf of our church. We are so thankful for those 24 years of blood, sweat, and tears. And I know you hear it every year, but 24 years is not something we just take lightly. And we wrote a post about you today. It was online, and you read it. And one of the things I loved about it is that you have done it, you still are doing it, and there's still more to do. And we just want to thank you for everything you've done. It takes a lot to serve a community and to go first for people and to even sacrifice your family and life. And you guys have done that. And we're not looking at the now, we're looking at the whole journey of where you guys have come from. And so, church, I think we should put our hands together even louder to just honor that amazing journey of what you guys have done. Cool, we've had our breather, we've had our honor. Who's been keeping up online to what we've been speaking about here at the church? Have been doing a series called Miss But Not Missing, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. First of all, I want to do something, and I'm going to cut this part out of the tape. But I want to just welcome our online viewers. Now, for people that don't know this, we are gathering an online audience. These are people that don't live in Port Macquarie. I've got friends that live in other, parts of Australia that are watching right now. And I reckon we should put our hands together and welcome them for joining us, not just the ones in-house, but the ones online. We see your messages and we see what you guys do on the app, and we are appreciative that you have joined us wherever you are in the world. We're so thankful that you can call this home, even though you don't live where we live. And I like to mention this sometimes before I preach, and I want to remind us here as, people of God, that our heart here is to not have a belief system that people can't relate to. We have to have a belief system that people can relate to. And one of the things I wrote down here was sometimes I do get nervous about this season. I'm going to admit that as a pastor and as a leader, I do get nervous, but it's okay to get nervous. And you might be online thinking, am I allowed to be nervous? It's okay to be nervous. Sometimes we are a bit afraid, but sometimes it's okay to be afraid. Sometimes we don't have all the answers. And can I say this? It's okay that sometimes we don't have all the answers. Sometimes we make mistakes. But I want to say tonight that it's okay that we're not perfect. And I don't know if that's encouraging anyone tonight. It encouraged me as God spoke to me, but I wanted to just chuck that in there for our online viewers. It's okay to have those things because we haven't got it right and we're on the journey together. And I just wanted to add on there, but our only difference, and you'll know this if you're a Christ follower, our only difference is that in these things, in these times, and in these situations, our reliance is on Jesus Christ, the Comforter and the Prince of Peace. Do you agree with that? So it's okay to not get it right. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be in the unknown. But our reliance is on the Prince of Peace, the Comforter of all comforters. So thank you for joining us online. Thank you for being in the house. It's so good. I just want to highlight the fact that we're not here to put focus on the fear, but we're here to highlight the peace and point people into the direction of peace. And so that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to preach part 3 of Missed But Not Missing. I've done part 1 and 2 online if you want to check that out. And what they are, one was about purpose and the other one was about self-worth. Tonight I want to talk to you about love. Everybody say love. Love, part 3, Missed But Not Missing, love. And just a couple of things I want to break down. If I can borrow just a couple of minutes of your time. I feel like in a season when we are disrupted by our routine or our normal or our church attendance or even some of us, our work schedules, when we found that our things went missed, we kind of started to think that other parts of our life were missing. And God quickly put this series on my heart to remind us of though we are missed at our work, although we are missed in our routines at church, although we are missed in our normal, that our love for people should not be missing. That our love for our workmates, our love for our schoolmates, our love for this city should not go missing. So although our routine, although our church attendance, although whatever's happening in this world might be missed, our love for people should not be missing. You know, I want to encourage you tonight that our mission is to reach those far from God. And even though we can't meet with people all the time, or we're navigating through different restrictions, that our heart should still be that God touches people, that our heart should still be excited that God is touching people, and our heart should be just as excited that even though we're not together, doesn't mean God's not working on people. You know, God's love for us is not missing, no matter if you come to church or you don't come to church, whether you're in a full routine or you're not in a routine. God's love for you is not missing. So tonight I just wanted to break down this, and I wanted to give you a fun fact. This is something that God gave me this week as I'm preparing this message. But a fun fact, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but in this season of being missed, in this season of not coming to church, I know we're here tonight and we're following the rules, but in this season, do you know the fun fact that I've gathered and the information that I've been shared with by God and just revelation is that people are searching for something more than ever. That if every time and the kids are cheering me on for this, they get it. That right now, people are in search for something more than ever. That this is an opportunity for the church, this is an opportunity for us to fulfill an answer, to fulfill a void of when people are searching more than ever. And I would hate for us to be a church or a people that when our routine's missed or when our work schedule, everything's messed up or not going the way we want it, that we think that our purpose and our love and our calling is missed. But can I say now, right now, this is more important for the church to not be missing in action, not to be not there, to actually be the ones that share this message. And so, fun fact, people more than ever are searching for the real, authentic love of Christ. Now, you might be going, yeah, we knew that, we believe that. But the thing is, and I love this, that we are that message. That we carry that message, that we are part of that unpacking, that people would know so deeply that Christ died for them so they could have a new life, a new purpose, a new direction, just like us, a new way of life. And I want to say this now, and I want to encourage us all, including myself and those watching online. Can we, if that's our mission, can we not be the ones that add to the noise, but actually help people find the light? Yeah, very good. I want you to just understand that for a second. So when you come into conversations at work or school or wherever we are, that we don't add to the noise, but we actually direct people to the light. Yeah, very good. Our normal might be missed, but our love for people is certainly not missing. You know, I want to go to the scriptures and I want to read you this verse in John. I'm going to break it down and then I'm going to finish up because I believe that worship is going to be life-changing tonight because I know the heart is wanting to be in God's presence and I can feel it in the room. But I want to break down this verse and it's just to go on the whole theme of love. And John 15, 12 to 13, it says here, my command is this, love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Now, I know sometimes we've heard this verse. Like, we get it. We're like, yep, we heard it. We're meant to love people. Jesus loved us. And we try to wrap our head around how deep that goes. And I'm going to give you some practical steps of what God was speaking about this week. But sometimes loving people, and this is just encouraging for me and for all of us here today, sometimes loving people is far greater than just the obvious. It's far greater than the, hey mate, I'll be praying for you. It's far greater than the dropping the meal off. It's far greater than a gift. It's far greater than inviting someone to church. The mission of love, to lay down one's life for friends, is far greater than the obvious. And so the reason why this is so important for us right now as a church, like I said, we don't want to add to the noise. We want to point people to the light. Yeah, very good. The reason why this is so important, because I believe in this world, they are taking notice of us more than they ever have before because how we love people is a reflection of how we love God. I just want to say that again. How we love people in this season is how we love God. So 3 practical steps I want to break down for you, and the band can prepare to come up. It'd be great. You know, I really seeked God for this, and I said, God, how do we become a church that's better at loving? It's better at reaching people far from you. And God said one line to me, and I was like blown away by this. And he said, you've always thought that your job is to introduce people to Jesus. And And I said, yeah. And he said, do you want to know something? Before you introduce people to Jesus, you are actually the introduction. I want you to think about that. Because I'm like, I'll just be snappy with the lady at the shop, so I'll speed around trying to get past everyone on the roads, and I get in that season of not understanding that people are just as important to God as they should be to us. And God says, before you introduce them to Jesus, you're the introduction. You're the first point of Christ that they will ever engage in. So, although we find that our routine's missed, although we find that we haven't attended church every Sunday, your mission field or your purpose is actually more valuable than coming to church. It's actually, how did you treat people this week? How did you treat your neighbors this week? How did you treat your friends this week? How did you treat your family this week? Because if it's important to God, it should be important to us. We might think once the world's back to normal, then I'll do God's work. God's asked us to already do his work. Although we are missed, our love for people should not be missing. Before introducing people to Jesus, you are the introduction. So I break this down in 3 simple points. I like to get practical when I preach now, and I'd love you if you could write these notes down. If you're watching online, you can write them down, or we could memorize them later. And there's 3 practical things we can do as a church right now as we leave here tonight, because I believe that people are going to get saved and they're not necessarily walked in this building yet. Like, I don't think that we have to get people in here for the message of love and hope in Christ to be spread. We don't have to fill a room to have them filled with God. We can right now leave this place tonight and put in these 3 practical steps in our workplace, our school place, wherever we are, and we can spread the love of Christ, and we can begin to lead people step by step into following him and into finding him. So step 1, and I said it's not the obvious, but step 1 is be self-aware. Everybody say self-aware. Be self-aware. Sometimes we try to project our thoughts and feelings onto others, but projecting our belief system at the cost of burning people is the opposite to love. I want you to listen to this. Sometimes we want to project our feeling of Christ. We want to project how someone's wrong about what they think about the church, how we want to project what, not being self-aware of what we're saying, that if we burn them, if we push them away, that it's actually the opposite to love. That sometimes we have to be self-aware and go, you know what? I don't know where that person's journey's been. I don't know if they've encountered a bad church before, they've encountered a bad person that represented Christ before, but I don't want to add to that. I want to subtract from that. So I become self-aware. I'm self-aware that, sometimes I don't have to project my feelings or thoughts, because burning them is the opposite to love. Sometimes I don't have to project and protect my belief system, but I can love them into my belief system. I want you to think about this, because sometimes we get really uptight about what people say and the world says and the church says it. We get all these, how can someone say that? How can someone think that? How can someone do that? And this is how I think it should go, and this is how I think it should look. And we start to get all protective, and we force our feelings and we force our thoughts on other people. But at the cost of burning them is the opposite of love. Jesus said, lay down your life for your friends, not go to war. Don't go to war with them. So the first one, be self-aware. When you're in environments, if someone's doing something that you don't agree with, don't just throw them to the curb. Be self-aware. Be aware that their journey is their journey, and we're going to be more aware of ourselves instead of just getting defensive. Number 2, and this is hard for peoples that follow Christ. It's a hard one. Sometimes we have to listen more and speak less. And this one's challenging me because I like to, yarn, so is my dad. Minturn problem. Maybe God's speaking to us, but God just said to me this week, people don't have to be right to be heard. I want you to listen to this. People don't have to be right to be heard. The first step of love is not projecting whether they're wrong or pointing out they're wrong. They don't have to be right to be heard, because at one point in your life, you weren't right and someone listened to you. I wasn't right and someone listened to me. So for us to lead people into love, they don't have to be right to be heard. Conversations don't have to be one-sided to be had. I want you to listen to this. Conversations don't have to be one-sided to be had. Conversation doesn't have to be about if it's our side winning or their side winning. This is what I had to add on to that. Conversations don't have to be one-sided to be had, because anyone should be welcome to step into our church, should be stepped into our circle, should step into our homes and not feel threatened or pushed away for their own feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. That we are a church that's open, that we're a people that's open to allow ideas to be talked about, to allow conversations to be had without being offended, without being upset, but allowing that, sometimes we have to listen more and speak less. And this is what God just spoke to me so clearly about, and this is a revelation I'm working on, and I know this church, we're on this process together, but the community is not here to serve us. We're actually here to serve the community. I want you to listen to this. Listen more, speak less. We're not here to get the world and convince them to serve our church or mission. We're here to serve them. We're here to listen to them. We're here to help them take one step closer to God. It's not about if someone comes in tonight and we go, well, we got to get them doing something in the church. What about if we go up to them and say, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? I want to speak less and listen more. What is going on in your life? What is happening in your household? What do you believe in? What do you think? What is your upbringing? I want to know more about you. Because as I know more about you, then I can allow God to find his way into that relationship. Now, I know this is am I being too challenging with these? Because I really think the world more than ever really is watching us. They're really seeing what we're going to do next. And I don't want to be part of a church that got caught up in whatever we did and we became extinct, because the world needs to know that we will never try to convince them to serve us. We were always here. And God even did it himself with his son. We always came to serve them and to lay down our life for a friend, to lay down our life for a school friend, to lay down our life for our parents, to lay down a life for whoever in our circle didn't know Jesus Christ. And the third one, be patient and be graceful. Be patient on where people are in their lives and on the journey, and be graceful on the steps they're taking. Their steps don't have to be as fast as ours. They don't have to be as fast as yours. They don't have to be right next to you in the race. As long as we are graceful and as long as we are patient with people's journey towards Christ, this means that the division in the world that we're in, the different arguments on, we could go into politics, we can go into a whole lot, that doesn't matter in this place, because our job is the right direction. Our job's not whether we're right or wrong. It's not whether we've got our opinion or not, whether we're judgmental or not. Our job is to help people on their steps, one step closer to Jesus Christ, one step closer to God, one step closer to his salvation. Be patient on where people are in their lives. Your pastor, your friends, your mum and dad, your kids, everyone in your circle, be patient on their journey and be graceful towards their steps. Not everyone has to come to this place or listen online and be a full-time Christian overnight. They don't have to. They don't have to just believe exactly what you believe about the Bible, and they don't have to be there. They just have to be interested, and I think they're interested when we bring up the conversation of showing interest in their lives. Those who are watching online, I don't know if you're watching for the first time or you're a Christian or you're not, we want to hear your story. We want to be part of your life. We want to serve you. Because Christ did that for us. And it's through that we found love. It's through that we found eternity. It's through that we realized that he actually died for our sins and he actually paid the price through conversation and through patience as we took steps every day closer to him. So, although our church has gaps in it, although we wear masks, although our normal is missed, our mission for love is not missing. Those three things are not even an in-house practice. These are an out-house practice. This is what we do before we come to church. This is what we do, why we're waiting for church to go back to normal, why we're waiting for things to change. This is what we do, and I'll tell you why. I'm finishing up with this. Because how much we love people is actually how much we love God. The deeper we are with people, the deeper we are with God. I go, but church is shut. I've got to get deep with God. put worship on 3 times this week. I prayed, I preached, I read the Bible, and I'm really deep with God. But God says, hang on a minute, can I just say something? Fun fact, I sent my son for your workmates. I sent my son for your kids. I sent my son for everyone in your circle. So if you really want to get deep with me, if you really want to be close to me, then align your heart with my heart, because my heart is this world. My heart is these people. My heart isn't to burn, isn't to prove wrong, isn't to be right. My heart's to serve the world. My heart's to reach the world. My heart, if you want to get deep with God, you got to get deep with, say it with me, people. Because you can't get deep with God and not deep with people, because God's so deep with people. It's his goal. It's the only reason, it's literally the only reason his son came to earth, was to reach people, sons and daughters, to reach them. That's the only reason. And we try to align our lives with God and all other avenues, but really, how deep we are with people is how deep we are with God. So all of a sudden, that's starting to make sense, that list of 3, why we don't argue, why we have conversations, why we, there's no point praying for our community and telling someone off at the shops. It makes no sense. It's like we gotta live by them. We gotta be self-aware. We gotta listen and speak less. We gotta be willing to be patient and graceful for our workmates and our family. Because if we align our goal with God's goal, then we are deep with him, and then we find ourselves deep with people. You think about that. Because I know people seek it and people want to be deep with God. But how we get close to God is how close can we get to people. I want to encourage you that we're going to go in time of worship. But I want to encourage you to think about someone this week. Something that maybe you can do for someone. It doesn't have to be a bunch of flowers or something practical, but maybe you can just speak to them or give them encouragement to start the conversation of getting to know them a bit better. I know that God spoke to me so clearly about, I'm always trying to convince people to be interested in my life, but I'm never interested in theirs. And if I show interest in theirs, then God opens doors for me to lead them into where God's going, and I'm patient with those steps and I'm patient with that direction. So I want to encourage you, our first Sunday back after this crazy, whatever the heck's going on, that we focus on the light, we don't add to the noise, and we can still be the church, even though our church is missing, even though we're missed you and we're missed in our routine, that our love for people and our deepness with God is certainly not missing. Love you, church. Love you online. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. I'm just excited for what the band's about to do. So take it away, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, church.